How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Polestar, ticker symbol PSNY. That is right, no more GGPI. So it was up almost 16% on the Friday. So many people are asking me that question, Dre. What do you see it doing for the coming week? I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Polestar. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $13, being up 15.76%. On the low, it tested $10.41, and then on the high, testing $13.36. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 17.401 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 7.914 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, and it's part of the reasons why we've seen some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 74.71. And then when we take a look at our moving averages, we are above the 200-day to 50-day and as well as the 21-day EMA. So it's clear to see that Polestar is showing a lot of strength. As far as for the high, we need to take a look at this level real quick. So I got to 1336. So getting to 1336 is actually a very interesting level because we actually had resistance around this area back in the beginning of April. So for this coming week, if we're able to actually break through this level, then the next place where we could see some resistance will be around $14.52, taking into consideration all the way back in November. And if we're able to break above that level, that's where we can see Polestar trying to test going to around 15 bucks. But again, this is the most bullish case scenario here. If we decide to have a pullback, the RSI is looking really hot, then as far as the pullback is concerned, that's where we start getting a test right here around 12 bucks. Of course, you'd want to see $12 hold, because if bulls are buying here right around 12 bucks, this stock will move up, especially if the market continues to be on an uptrend. If it decides to break through $12, that's where we can start testing back right here at the 200-day moving average. But again, we would have to have a good amount of selling pressure coming in. So we're just going to have to continue to keep an eye on this one, but for the most part, it is looking fairly bullish. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent short interest information for Polestar. So the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 55.51%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 4.56 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, since it just had a ticker symbol change, we have to keep in mind there's not a lot of data available. And then when we take a look at the history of the short volume for June the 24th, it is at 55.51. So overall, we know there's many shorts who are vested in this play, and if we have that buying volume, we'll see strong moves to the upside. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for PSNY, aka Polestar. So on the inflow is at 49.61 million, and then on the outflow it's at 45.42 million. So we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 16.69 million, on the medium it was 21.28 million, and then on the small it was 11.64 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large it was 13.24 million, on the medium it was 20.62 million, and then on the small it was 11.56 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for June the 24th we had that inflow of 3.45 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, you can see that we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then for the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had a lot more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 17.40%. So this is up there for a stock like Polestar. We know it doesn't see a lot of trading volume whatsoever, but since the ticker symbol has changed, we know a lot of traders are coming in and out of this play, and with the strong day that it had on the Friday, especially since the market is on an uptrend, you need to keep an eye on it. I'll talk about it further in the final thoughts, so let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for Polestar, aka PSNY, as far as for the price action, so we ended up seeing a high at $13.36. This is a very key level. We visited this area in the past. If we're able to actually break above it for this coming week, then the next area to keep an eye on is around $14.52. And if we can break above this level, then we can get right near $15 or $14.92 to be exact. But I would assume that we'd be able to get to $15 if we got to that point. Again, this is only if the stock continues to be on an uptrend. As far as the technicals, it does look bullish. It has been forming higher lows for the past 5 trading days. There's been a lot of volatility. And even though it did see a high of $13.36, it did pull back into the $12 range inside of the after hours. So I'll be keeping an eye on it in regards to the pre-market and then seeing what it does at the open. The only time I see this stock looking weak, unless it breaks below 12 bucks. That's where we can get that test right around $11, which is around the 200-day moving average, and then we'd want to see what it would do from there. Could bulls still step in? Most definitely. So I want to make sure that you guys keep a close eye. Always have a strategy before you jump into these plays. So if you are thinking about taking a position, you need to know exactly what your intentions are. Are you going to be an investor or are you going to be a trader? I want to make sure I emphasize this. So if you're going to be a trader, the last thing that you want to do is to be buying in this stock right at $13. Why would you do that when you can get it at a cheaper price? You don't need to have FOMO. I want to emphasize that. And then as far as for my investors are concerned, it really doesn't matter until you find out after your homework and as well as your due diligence what price you want to get in at. Because if you believe in the long-term prospects, so an example, if you say, well, you know what, I see Polestar getting to $20 before the end of the year or even by next year. So what that means from the current price level of where it's at, that is a tremendous amount of upside. You would technically be up a good percentage on the play, and that's what you call a solid return on investment. But again, the only way you're going to be able to figure this out is by doing your homework. Don't just go and watch a video on social media or even on YouTube and hear someone say, well, you know what, this is going to the moon. Yeah, that is fine and dandy. You want to watch it for entertainment purposes, but if that stock pulls back and you start panicking, you're the one that's going to have to take responsibility. But if you have high conviction and the stock decides to pull back further, you're going to be loading up on those dips since you do have strong belief that this stock has a lot of potential. So that's why I want to make sure that you know this. We are still in a bear market. We can still have pullbacks. Please be cautiously optimistic. Also, when we went on Fintel taking a look at the short interest information, there wasn't a lot of details, but one thing that is clear, there's a lot of shorts who are vested in this play. And the reason why that is great, that means if we have more bulls coming in and there's more buying volume, we could see the stock getting to the levels that I previously talked about. $14.52 and potentially getting to around $15. But of course, we need to go back to revisiting 13 since we did sell off quite a bit and it was trading in the $12 range in the after hours. So again, watch it in the pre-market. Let's see what it does at the open. But one thing that is clear though, the market continues to go on an uptrend and Polestar decides to follow along with it, I can see things getting very, very interesting. So let's see how the stock performs for this coming week. And if you guys want me to put out consistent uploads in regards to Polestar, let me know inside of the comment section as well. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let's see how the stock performs for the coming week. We'll talk soon.